All right, Rick, well, you were the first to break the news that Xavier has mutually agreed to part ways with Travis Steele. How did we get here? This was a team with such big expectations going into the season. They had their successes, but the bottom fell out once again.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly how we ended up in this situation. I think if the season finished off in any other fashion than essentially the same exact way it finished last season, even down to a crazy foul happening against Butler in the Big East tournament, almost the same exact way, I think you can come up with a lot more reasons to keep Travis Steele and a vision to sell going forward. But the fact that it looked exactly the same as last year just felt like the program was staying in the same place. I think that's what led to the decision.
So where does Xavier go from here is the big question.
That's a really good question. And obviously the rumor mill is hot right now. It's churning. And the name that keeps coming up in all of my conversations right now is Sean Miller. And when I first heard that name a few months ago and people started bringing it up when this became a possibility, I kind of laughed it off. But the more I've talked to people about it, and especially today after the news came down about Travis being let go, I think there's something real behind it.
What would Xavier be able to handle all of the baggage that comes with Sean Miller coming back?
I think so. I mean, I think if you look at how the game has changed and the rules within the game have changed, not just the transfer portal, but the NIL agreements, the players are now allowed to legally get paid. I think a lot of people have changed their moral stances on how they feel about those things. Now, there's some people that may just say, I don't want a coach that has been accused of cheating, and that's a fair stance as well. But I think there's a lot more of us out there that say, doesn't really bother me if college players are getting paid.
I know you and I, talking off air, both love Travis Steele as a person. It's genuine and as nice as they come in the coaching ranks. What do you think is next for him?
It's a really good question. My guess is he has a lot of really good contacts. He's a great connector, so people really like Travis. And by the way, they know he can really recruit. So wherever he goes next, I imagine it's going to be an assistant role recruiting for somebody, and they'll be happy to have him because he's already proven he can do that as a high level, even as a head coach. And then going forward, I still think he has a lot of upside as a head coach later in his career. I think, you restart maybe at a mid-major. His half-brother, John Gross, has already done that. He got let go at Illinois, and then he moved on and went to Akron. So I think he understands the playbook going forward here, and he'll still be successful.
For the new head coach, why Xavier? Why would you come to Xavier, and what's the biggest selling point about this team?
They care about basketball at Xavier. I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's not a football school. You're not competing with anything else for attention or resources or anything like that. It's all about winning, and that's why they came to such a quick conclusion on Travis after 4 years, that they had to go another direction because it means so much at Xavier, not just from an athletics perspective, but really from a marketing perspective for the whole university. It's the best way for them to drive new enrollments. So they take it very seriously, and you've obviously proven that you can get to the NCAA tournament, that you can win games in the NCAA tournament, and that you can recruit top players to Xavier. So I think those are the biggest selling points.
How critical is it to get this hire right if you're the Xavier administration?
Well, it's really huge because you let go of a guy who didn't have you as a doormat in the conference. It wasn't an easy decision to just say, yeah, we're terrible, we got to move on. They're right in the middle of the pack. They're competitive. I mean, really, when you look at Travis Steele's 4 years, it boils down to maybe 4 or 5 games that kept him out of the tournament over the course of his career every single season. So, I mean, he was just on the cusp. He was right around that 500 mark in the Big East where almost everyone seems to hit, and he just couldn't quite get over that hump. So, yeah, I think you definitely got to get this next hire right because if you slip backwards, you could just be in that revolving door of changing coaches.